Hey guys, Claire here, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the latest episode of Archetypes. Now, this week's episode is entitled Beyond the Archetype Human Being. The featured guests include Sex and the City author Candace Bushnell, Pose star MJ Rodriguez, and the well known poet Amanda Gorman. Now, in this week's episode, they really delved into the vilification of women's sexuality and slut shaming that women face. What I really enjoyed was the conversation that Meghan had with recent graduates of her former school. The thing that I loved the most is just how self-aware these young ladies were. And while I was listening to them having the conversation with Meghan, the back and forth, them talking about the B word and other words that Meghan has delved into with various guests throughout this season of Archetypes, it dawned on me how much the commentary these young ladies provided mirrored a lot of the comments provided by other guests of Meghan's show. So the guests this year included some really incredible women from different walks of life, like let's say Serena Williams, Mariah Carey, you have Paris Hilton, you have so many stars and women in various fields of their life, public figures. So it was very interesting to see how the comments provided by these women, who are well known and have a lot of life experiences under their belt, translates and is very similar to a lot of the commentary the young ladies were talking about. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why Meghan's podcast is so well received and so loved by women, especially young ladies, because it is relatable, regardless of your age, regardless of your social status, regardless of which chapter in life you're in. You can find those things that you relate to, you understand in every single episode. And that's the beauty of this podcast. That's the beauty of Meghan choosing to dissect these labels, because it really affects us all. These young ladies are just as equally affected by these labels as the rest of us are. And you're not exempt from dealing with these nasty labels and stereotypes, regardless of if you're an everyday person or a celebrity with a lot of influence and a lot of money in your pocket. Now, it was really interesting listening to the life stories of Candace and MJ and how their life experiences has really shaped who they are and their outlook on owning their sexuality, on owning their femininity and who they are, and defining their womanhood. And I really, really enjoyed the conversations that Meghan had with both Bushnell and MJ. If you haven't listened to the episode, be sure to do so. I'm going to leave a link in the description box below, like I always do in every Archetypes video. It is such a wonderful listen, and I'm so sad that next week is going to be the last episode until the Lord knows when. So yeah, give it a listen. Now, to finish it off, Amanda Gorman did such a fantastic job of providing a beautifully written poem that is so in tune to the topic of conversation of this week's Archetypes episode.
There is a movement brewing. We are the storm, the very form of change. The way forward isn't a road we take, but a road we make, forged forth by a future that is female. We will not fail, we will not sway, for where there's will, there's woman, and where there's woman, there is forever a way.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Amanda Gorman made history in 2021 when she became the youngest poet to perform at the U.S. presidential inauguration of current President Joe Biden. She has been a friend of Meghan and has even served as a collaborator in Meghan's 40 by 40 mentorship program. You guys remember for Meghan's 40th birthday, she had such an incredible mentorship program. Like, there's so many tweets and comments of people who chose to participate and had such a great time mentoring other girls and women around the world. And there were so many incredibly huge names that joined in on that mentorship program. I mean, Hillary Clinton, you had Stella McCartney, you had Adele, we had Stacey Abrams. Like, a lot of huge heavy hitters joined in, and that was wonderful. Side note, I'm not sure if you guys heard, but recently the iconic Gloria Steinem attended the Women's Media Award. She is a co-founder of the organization, was asked about her partnership with Meghan when it comes to their collective championing of reproductive rights for women. And Steinem's answer was not surprising, but I love just how open and unafraid she is to speak her mind. And she basically said that Meghan is so different from the picture that is painted of her in the media. She said that Meghan's smart and funny and devoted to social issues. And if you've paid attention to Meghan's life for any number of years, then you would know. I mean, her life. I mean, even as a 10-year-old, she was incredibly civic minded, putting together a protest for the Gulf War, writing to former First Lady Hillary Clinton and Procter and Gamble about a very sexist commercial. Even as she got older, that never changed. She interned in the U.S. Embassy in Argentina. So she's always been very much that girl who is very civic-minded, very in tune with social issues, and paying attention to her life, you also know that she loves being actively engaged in anything that has to do with female empowerment, women's feminism, anything of that nature. So you know that Gloria Steinem is very much that type of woman as well. And I love that their partnership and friendship has grown. And Gloria is not afraid to just call it like she sees it. She even went on record to say, the problem is the British tabloids. Yeah, she said that. Just as Kerry Kennedy, who the UK press and the royalists are losing their goddamn minds because she talked about all of the great work that Harry and Meghan has done with Archewell. And the British press loves to say, well, I don't know what Archewell does. What do they do? They haven't done anything. There's a long list of things that they've done in the infancy of that foundation. And they know that because they pay attention to every move Harry and Meghan makes, even more than the fans do. They're just bitter. And Kerry was even asked about Harry and Meghan, and I loved how frank and unapologetic she was when responding to the way Harry and Meghan has been ostracized within the royal circles, within the royal family, within that royal institution, for basically standing up and talking about the racism within that ecosystem. And I loved how she was not afraid to say that. And I love even more the way that people like Piers Morgan is losing his mind over it, even though there's video of Piers talking about the rather problematic history the royal family has when it comes to racism.
This woman existed. All the alarm bells rang at Buckingham Palace, and I could almost hear them saying, pull the shutters down. It's an invasion.
She's mixed race, she's American, she's a divorcee, actress. Those are 4 ticks. No member of the royal family, the senior members, ever thought they would see having to be ticked when it came to Harry's bride.
All the things that frightened the royal family have suddenly arrived on their doorstep. I can hear Diana laughing now.
Meghan's marrying into a family which has, to put it mildly, a dodgy track record on race. It's not Meghan Markle's problem, it's their problem.
There was a time where reading all of the horrible things from the royal trolls online, or the very conservative royalist loving media, but now it really doesn't bother me at all, because I feel like there's so many people out here that sees it for what it is, and there's so many people in fantastic organizations and foundations, I mean, like top tier iconic people who are so sick and tired of the vitriol coming from the UK. So many people who have also noticed the quiet the royal family has when it comes to the vitriol directed at Harry and Meghan. A lot of people noting that the royal family is very much a part of the problem when it comes to the source of the vitriol directed towards Harry and Meghan. I mean, even during the Queen's funeral, Kerry Kennedy's family member, Maria Shriver, commented on Charles's behavior, basically saying, I don't understand why he feels like, trying to hurt and shame Harry in such a public way during, the Queen's funeral mourning period. It's not a good thing. So the more that they spend their time throwing this hate at Harry and Meghan, there's so many people who are finally seeing it, and they're not swayed by it. Kerry Kennedy made her comment, and of course, the rabid royalists just have to attack her. I mean, she's a Kennedy, okay? Like, your comments on social media or your silly little articles in the UK tabloids will not sway her. She is not the type of woman who is easily swayed or easily intimidated. And these are the types of people, and these are the types of women that Meghan has been surrounding herself with, and I love that for her. We all need a good sisterhood of women who have your back. They're going to hold you accountable, but they're also going to be a wonderful support system. That's what we all need. And I love that Meghan has gotten that from her friends and her ever-growing list of wonderful females out there who she is growing these bonds with. It's pretty spectacular.